Hello everyone, Tuba Solo here again, and it's been a while since I've done a gear discussion video, and I wanted to go ahead and take a moment and do a gear discussion about cook kits. While I realize that the subject of backpacking cook kits is a bit of an overdone subject, for lack of a better term, on YouTube, I do want to take this opportunity to discuss what I have found to be, at least for me, the most useful system. This is a Frankenstein cook kit comprised of many different parts from different cook kits. However, after much searching and various nesting tests, I have finally come up with something that works for about 95% of all situations that I anticipate finding myself in while hiking and backpacking. The first part that I want to address is the need for a cup. So I'm going to set this guy right here aside for just a second and talk about this guy right here. And when I say the need for a cup, I'm not talking about just a cup to hold liquid, rather a cup that can hold liquid and be placed on a flame. So how is this important? You're probably asking yourself. As you can see here, we have the MSR Titan cup. It's a 13-ounce cup that can hold liquids and be placed on a canister stove to heat separate water for drinks like coffee, tea, hot chocolate, etc. In a scenario where you are cooking ramen in your main pot, we'll use ramen as the example, you'll need to heat your water for your drink in advance before you cook your actual meal, and that is if you're using a plastic, a non-metallic cup. You'll actually have to heat your water in advance before you actually cook your meal. If you are using a heavy-duty plastic cup in this scenario, your drink or hot water for your drink could very likely be not hot by the time you're done cooking. Also, if you're using a smaller cup and you want more coffee or tea, you're stuck because you have a pot full of ramen. I don't think I really need to beat this one into the ground any further. I think you guys get it. I think it's important that one has a cup that can hold liquids and be set to a flame. It really comes down to an issue of versatility. Now, I know some of you are probably saying, well, you have the reverse problem, that if you're heating up your drink beforehand, or rather you're heating up your drink after the fact, your soup will get cold. Well, here's the thing, it doesn't have to be bubbling over, rolling boil hot. If you're filtering all your water, really all you just need is to have the water hot enough to be pleasant to drink out of. You already have filtered water, so really the time it would take to heat up this much water really would be negligible. Okay, so let's set that guy aside for a second and let's get to the main cook kit. As you can see here, we have a Snow Peak Trek 900 with an MSR Titan lid. And one day when I was looking at the specifications of both the Titan Kettle and the Snow Peak Trek 900, I noticed that both of them have the same circumference, and took a gamble thinking that the Titan Kettle lid should be able to fit on the Snow Peak Trek 900, thus replacing the ridiculous mockery that is the original lid for the Snow Peak Trek 900. Luck was in fact on my side, and when I attempted to place the MSR Titan Kettle lid on the cup portion of the Snow Peak Trek 900, I got the same pressure fit result that owners of the Titan Kettle love so much. This top actually stays on. Now all of my stuff is in here. I'm giving it a good little shake, and as you can see, the lid is nice and pressure fit onto the cup. It holds very nicely, so I can essentially put everything inside my backpack and not have to have some kind of a separate baggie or anything like that. It all fits in here. It's all pressure fit, the lid, and it holds everything without any worry of anything coming out. Alright, so let's get into the main cook kit and all the different parts that I have in my system. As you can see here, we have the canister stand from a jet boil. I did not purchase a jet boil system, rather I just purchased the stand by itself. I got it at REI. I want to say it was approximately $6. but I use a canister stand because, man, I've had stuff tip over, and I just don't want stuff to tip over anymore. It's tough enough just keeping cups on the actual small backpacking stoves. The last thing I need is to tip over the entire works. So I utilize one of these things. Okay, and I'm sure many of you have seen it. It just folds out, and you can place both size canisters onto the stand. Okay. The next item in the cook kit here is my Optimus titanium folding long handle spoon, which I can use to cook and eat with. And I went ahead and I bent this guy a little bit because I felt like this was not really at the proper angle for being able to scoop stuff out of a mountain house. I will say this, that there is one thing that is driving me nuts about this spoon. While it's a great spoon, in the scenario where we're cooking ramen, for example, I can ladle out all the liquid I want, but when it comes time to actually grabbing the noodles, I do run into a little bit of trouble being able to grab them. So sometimes I wish this was a fork/spoon, but I mean, for the versatility that I have right here, it's just, kind of one of those things you got to suffer with, unless, maybe one day I'll run into a product that actually will work for both scenarios. The next thing up that we have here is a Snow Peak Light Max. I took don't tell the U.S. Postal Service, but I took one of their priority envelopes that are made of Tyvek, and I just created my own little baggie. I didn't sew it or anything. What I did is I just utilized the, as you can see here, I utilized one of the corners that was already done. It was already sealed. One of the corners that was already sealed, and then what I did is I cut the top part where you would normally seal the envelope, and then I just created my own seal on the other side till I created a little baggie that fits the Light Max stove in there. And that's just used to protect it and protect the inside of the pot and what have you. Okay. The next item up is your standard big lighter. Right there, it's a small one. Let's see, we'll go with this guy. The Snow Peak Hot Lips, which is great for both the pot and the cup. It does actually fit on both. So that's nice to have. A more recent addition is the pot scraper. I know. With this thing, sometimes I think I'm just adding things to add things, but possibly may come in useful. I have not used it yet. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to say that, oh, I've used this for years and it's the greatest thing that ever was, but rather I just thought I'd add it to see if it gets any usefulness. If it doesn't, after a few trips, it's going out the door. One of those guys, and like any good backpacker, I got a bandana. This is the 27-inch one. It does fit in here, although I will say that a 21-inch bandana would probably be a little bit better, more suited for this, but the 27-inch is what I got right now. And, of course, a canister of fuel. I happen to like the JetBoil brand. Seems to work pretty well for me in all the scenarios that I find myself in. And then, of course, the 900 titanium pot. So, I know you guys probably also want to know the weight of some of this stuff. So, what I can do is I can bring my scale in here, and we can get some information here. Alright, so the cup by itself looks like it is 3.6 ounces. When you add the lid to it, we push up to 4.8 ounces. Okay. When you add the MSR Titan cup, you are at 1.9 ounce. The Light Max stove with baggie is exactly 2 ounces. The Hot Lips does, it does register at 0.1 ounces. The canister stand It says 0.9 ounces, so that's almost an ounce exactly. The new edition pot scraper, 0.6 ounces. And the Optimus long-handled spoon is 0.7 ounces. Now I purposely omitted the lighter and the canister because those are consumables in my opinion. But if we were to add that all together, let me just go ahead and put this guy back in here and see if we can kind of get a weight on all this stuff. We don't want that. Okay, so the cook kit, not counting any consumables, is 10.9 ounces, and once you add the Titan cup onto that, you get a whopping 12.8 ounces for a heck of a lot of versatility, in my opinion. So that is the weight of all that stuff, and then I'll show you guys again one more time how all of this stuff nests into here. I'll get some of this stuff out of here. Flip our baggie back around, and we'll close that guy up. So essentially the process to nesting all of this is adding the bandana, placing the canister sideways, fitting the stove in. This part is a little bit trickier part, trying to get this spoon in there. It fits, but man, it fits only like one certain way, but once you finally get it, it's in there nicely. Let's see if I can remember. Yeah, worst case scenario, you can always just take it apart and set it into there however it can fit. Okay. And you can add your pot scraper over there, hot lips, lighter, just fit them wherever they go, and then your canister stand and your pressure fit lid. So there you go, that is my cook kit. Hopefully I've given you guys some ideas and some useful information here. As always, I love hearing your guys' comments if you have any. Definitely love talking about gear, so if you guys have any ideas or anything that I can change about the system or something that I might possibly be missing, I'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a wonderful evening, and talk to you all later.